Hello, I am Mariana Arellano Contreras, and I'm going to talk about the article in TESOL written by Yu Young Sun, titled Emotions and Language, Teacher Identity, Conflicts, Vulnerability, and Transformation. Well, the study discusses how the shifting teacher context via globalization generates new demands for English language teachers, especially in South Korea, and how teachers' emotional responses to this shift and how this affects their identity and practice. Also presents these teachers' completed stories regarding to study abroad returnee students in their classrooms, and the data were drawn from interviews with South Korean English teachers. Well, in the text, we can find this information. The first one is about Banish 2012, Schutz and Lee 2014, and Zimbalist 2002, 2003, and 2005. They say that emotions are a critical element in the dynamic process of negotiating and constructing teacher identity. Well, this we can see that emotions are important factor in the classroom. And Sembilis in 2003, he said that the perception of certain emotions and experiences are as important because they rely on individual identity, which in turn depends on how teachers emotionally engage in the classroom and how they identify those emotional experiences. Well, all these emotions are, we can say, reflected in the classroom actions or activity, because at the end emotions are constructed in social and historical contexts. They exist within, not outside of culture and power structures. They also are made by our own beliefs and thoughts about it. In the institutions or schools, they create the emotional norms. These emotional norms tell us how we should feel and how we should act according to certain situations. And these are called or considered emotional rules. This tell us to the teacher how to control our bad emotions like anger, anxiety, and vulnerability. And we don't express this, don't let us to express legitimate uh, emotions, and we change those emotions into empathy and calmness and or kindness. This self-control requires a lot of teachers emotional work. Sorry. Semilis in 2002 said that teachers emotional labor at school is not explicitly recognized because emotional rules often appear in the form of ethical codes, professional techniques, and a specialized pedagogical knowledge. Um, he said that teachers understand, experience, perform, and talk about emotion is closely relevant to their sense of self in relation to the social, cultural, and institutional context. These are called genealogies of emotion in teaching, will elucidate the personal, cultural, and pedagogical competence of teacher identity.
In the article, talk about one recent phenomenon that is relevant for the teachers in the Korean teaching context is that young Korean children early study abroad before college in order to learn English through early immersion in an English dominant country. This is made or done by the parents because in order to secure English as a global linguistic for their children's competitiveness and belongingness in the global market. So when this state is returned to Korea, they bring new competences and practice or perspective in the local classroom, and this generates tension and anxiety to the teachers because they feel that they have more information or more ideas, and they start to feel pressure with this returnees. Besides, the students or the returners are lack of desired language skills. for the Korean context, or by referring to a school curriculum or assessment. So that's why also the teachers start to compare themselves with their own language capacities, and they start to feel that they don't know, or the students know more than them, and this make them feel anxious about it. Even though with those feelings, well, teachers are taught to value and express certain emotions, and they have to move forward. So they dismiss some of the aspects, and they imply to mastery of their emotions, because they have to show professionalism at work and professional identity. So they need to move forward besides this anxiety and these emotions in class. So according to this article, in conclusion, we can say that conflicts arise when teachers' emotion clash with their professional expectation or their expectation of others, in this case the students or the school's authorities. And vulnerability is a common experience for language teachers who often feel uncertain or inadequate of their teaching abilities, because in this case when we're talking about the students that went abroad and they came back, because the teachers feel insecure about their own abilities. Well, however, all these things, the author suggests that vulnerability can also be a transformative experience that helps teachers develop a deeper understanding of themselves and their practice, because this helps them or improve them to be better teachers, because they feel these weaknesses, and they say, okay, I have to move forward. I know I have this type of students, and I need to be better than them, or they are better than them, but they need to feel that they really are better than them, then they are the professional despite the students went abroad. And we can summarize the article in these key points. First of all, it is important to acknowledge and address teachers' emotional experiences in language education. Also, teachers need support and resources to help them managing their emotions and development positive teacher identity. This includes professional development opportunities that focus on emotional self-awareness and strategies for managing emotions in the classroom. This is very important, because if teachers don't feel secure by teaching in that classroom, or they feel anxious or they feel judged by the students, the teaching is not going to be successful, because the teacher is going to be anxious all the time, or is going to be worried about what the students are going to think about them. Or so all these emotions, we can, by recognizing and addressing this emotional experience of language teachers, we can support them into the professional development and create a more positive and effective language education in the education environment. So it is important to provide the teachers the elements to transform this experience or this emotional experience into something positive. Because if they are teaching in a classroom where the students feel like the teacher they don't know, or the teacher don't know anything, so it's not going to be, the teacher is going to be anxious all the time. So it's very important to have in mind these key points. So that would be all. Thank you very much. The information was taken by this bibliography. So thank you very much.